On this episode of Audiobook Club, have you ever woken up and not know where you are or how on earth you got there?
Yes. You?
Yes. Iron Napper, 2002. Woke up on a park bench.
Is that why we didn't see you? Is that why we didn't see you between January 2000 and April 2003?
Yeah, I was screaming the whole time. Stop the foam, I kept saying. Stop the foam. It was a foam party. I got a bit claustrophobic. There we go. Bit of accidental partridge there, clearly. Straight 30 seconds in.
Oh, dear. Well, the same thing happened to Jack Reacher.
The pain hit first, then the sound followed. The way lightning beats thunder in a storm. The pain was in Jack Reacher's right wrist. It was sharp and sudden and hot, and it was more than strong enough to eclipse the dull throbbing ache that filled his head. The sound was a single round, lingering note, metal on metal, distinct but inconsequential next to the ringing in his ears. The pain and the sound came after he tried to move his arm. That was all Reacher knew. He had been asleep. No, somewhere deeper and darker than sleep. And when he floated to the surface, he was rocked by waves of dizziness. He was lying on his back, not in a bed, not on the ground, on something smooth and artificial, and cold.
Audiobook Club with Steve Phillips and Matthew Layton.
Hello and welcome to Audiobook Club, the podcast about audiobooks that is somewhat past its sell-by date and probably needs to be retired to the field out the back. Matt. Hello, Matt. As ever, you're here as well.
Hello, Steve.
I've got a confession to make this week.
Mm-hmm.
So Jack Reacher and these novels. And I've tried. But trust me, I've tried this week, and I just need. So I'm going to take it down to brass tacks. What is the appeal of these books? Why isn't the penny dropping for me? Treat me as a complete novice to this range of stories and / movies now, of course. But what is it? And I'll probably explain as we go on my experience of the book. But this is something that you're a fan of, so fax me some Reacher and tell me what I'm missing here. Why do you love these books?
Well, look, first of all, it's one of the best-selling book series of all time, ever. Yeah. There are some, even when we were reading Richard Osman's book, and he has no trouble with sales, he makes a joke in it about how one of his characters is the best-selling novelist in the world, apart from Jack Reacher. Mm. They've been going since 1999. The hero is basically someone I think we all want to be, which is somebody who is not frightened of much and can handle themselves physically, and the rest of the world. He's also free as a bird. He wanders the country with a toothbrush and a credit card in his pocket. And having read some stuff about Lee Child, the author, recently, he says that it's unashamedly commercial. He didn't write these books for literary purpose, and at every point he goes, how am I going to sell more? And loads of people are buying it. It really is airport fiction, i.e. you can pick up any one of these books and they work as standalone pieces. Why do I love them? I guess because, I've gone through all of them, and I love both the way they're written and, as we'll come to later, the way they are read, performed, and I'm addicted to them. I have to say, though, we last did a Jack Reacher novel. I know it feels to you like it's constant, but I've just looked it up. We did it on 11th of November 2020. So it's been 4 years. Since,
not long enough.
Indeed, since I tried to force you to read one of these. So, and I think There has been a change. My friend Jane's family are all Star Wars geeks. And they watched The Mandalorian.
Now you're talking.
And the analysis was, it's like house sitting for a friend. All of the furniture is there, but the people you love aren't. And I'm getting the feeling there's been a change in this series for reasons we're about to come across. And I assumed you were going to go book number 2. The normal rule here is when one of us has read part of a series, we do the person who's been keeping up with the series does the latest one. The other one goes back to the beginning. So I thought you were going to read number 2. And I wonder at this early stage if you might have had a better experience had you gone back to number 2. For me, it's something I anticipate every year. And there is a certain bit of it which is chicken on a Wednesday. By which I mean, when you get to a certain age, Steve, going to all of these posh restaurants, where you can experience Icelandic cuisine for the first time, that's not what you want on Wednesday. You want the same chicken breast you had last week, cooked in exactly the same way in a restaurant you like. Do you know what I mean? The comfy pair of slippers analogy.
Of course, yeah.
And I guess maybe this isn't your restaurant. Maybe that's the answer.
Is this because we talked about comfort books a few episodes ago when I brought along Steve Jobs. So is this would you say this is your comfort book?
This is one of my comfort books, one of my series that I love going back to. Let's do the 3-stage, Steve.
Yeah,
do you want to tell me what I'm about to do?
Yes. So, Matt, this is the 3-stage process. And dear listener, you may well be familiar if you're a regular listener, the 3-stage process of this podcast where we discuss the author and then we discuss the actual book and then we discuss the performance or narration of the audiobook, in this case, from Jeff Harding. So why don't we start in time-honoured fashion then, Matt, with James Dover Grant, CBE.
Yeah, so Lee Child is a pen name. James Dover Grant, CBE, was born on the 29th of October, 1954. So he's 70, and this may come up later. He's known by his pen name Lee Child. He's a British author and is best known for the Jack Reacher novel series. He was born in Coventry. Northern Irish father, was a civil servant. And they apparently, who lived in the house where singer Van Morrison was later born. And if that comes back to bite me on the bum, then I'll learn not to do my research on Wikipedia anymore. In 1974, at the age of 20, Grant studied law at the University of Sheffield, although he had no intention of entering the profession. And then, and this is the bit where I'm going to need your help, Steve, from 1977 to 1995, he worked at Granada Television, part of the UK's ITV network, as a presentation director. There he was involved with shows including Brideshead Revisited, The Jewel in the Crown, Prime Suspect and Cracker. Granada was quite a powerhouse, wasn't it, in the golden age of television, Steve?
Television from the north, yes, it was, yeah, massive. Well, that's the Coronation Street and everything from Granada.
I'm not quite sure how involved he was. It sounds a bit like my CV when I go, I was working at a place when this person was doing that. But then you read a little further, Grant was involved in the transmission of more than 40,000 hours of programming, writing thousands of commercials and news stories. So I think that was more towards the end of what he did.
So we could say the same thing, couldn't we, really? Because we were at the BBC in sort of early 2000s when such shows as, I don't know, when was Hole in the Wall on?
Well, no, hold on. What did we worked at the BBC... God, what were we on?
2002, 2003, something like that.
Yeah. Steve Phillips, star of the BBC Asian Network. Is that kind of stuff you put on the CV?
That was your crown there. I'm not going to take it. I was BBC Radio in the Eastern Counties. Oh, thank you very much indeed. Oh, yes. Keith Skews' show. That was me. That's where I
was more Ray Khan.
Yeah. There you go.
In 1997, having lost his job because of some corporate restructuring, he wrote his first novel and moved to the United States. It's interesting also that apparently he starts every new book on the anniversary of losing his job.
Oh, cool.
One fact that I did know was that Lee Child is it's an inside family joke based on the Nicole Papa Renault adverts. But apparently his pen name has the advantage of placing his books on bookshop and library shelves between Raymond Chandler and Agatha Christie.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Fantastic.
He came up with the name Reacher during a supermarket trip. There's also a thing that apparently he's an Aston Villa fan.
Oh, right. Well, that must have helped.
Well, apparently he has named some of his characters after Aston Villa players. This may or may not come up later in this half-hour podcast, Steve.
There's not a character called Doug Ellis, is there, in one of his books?
You know what? I think there probably is. That actually rings a bell.
Wow.
But of course, so he's 70 now, so he's handed over... He wanted to kill off the character, and his...
publisher.
his reading public were not happy with
Yes.
this. So this book, to some extent, is written by his brother, Andrew Child, née Grant, and Grant, as it says, is in the process of taking over the Jack Reacher series. And I'm not sure how quickly this is happening, and I'm not sure if this is part of the problem that we're experiencing. I do, however, feel very comfortable in having devoted proportionately the right amount of time to both Lee and Andrew Child in those descriptions. I think that the foundation of this is all, of course, Lee Child's work, and over nearly 30 years.
Wow. It's incredible, isn't it? What a body of work, considering where he was, losing his job. That's amazing, isn't it? As a proper,
Well, it would be if you liked them, Steve.
No, but I'm asking you to educate me, because I don't know what it is that I don't get about these books. Because, well, let me know when I can come on to this, when it's the appropriate time in the discussion. Maybe when we talk about the book. But I had a certain experience with this book, which I can impart later. Okay,
so the Jack Reacher books all center around American military policeman Jack Reacher. He's a former policeman, and he's basically a voluntary vagrant. And as I say, he's hard as nails, and he's not afraid of a fight. I've put in the blurb from the back of the book, Steve. Do you want to read it, or shall I?
Delighted. Yep. I can absolutely. You are better
at it than I am.
I can absolutely do that. Should I do this in the style of Jeff Harding, or I best not? I best not.
You do what you like. Don't let me cramp your style.
I'll do it in a British accent. Okay. Reacher had no idea where he was, no idea how he got there, but someone must have brought him and shackled him, and whoever had done those things was going to rue the day. That was for damn sure. Jack Reacher wakes up. I'm doing it like a carry-on film. Jack Reacher wakes up alone in the dark, handcuffed to a makeshift bed. His right arm has suffered some major damage. His few possessions are gone. He has no memory of getting there. The last thing Reacher can recall is the car he hitched a ride in getting run off the road. The driver was killed. His captors assume Reacher was the driver's accomplice and patch up his wounds as they plan to make him talk. A plan that will backfire spectacularly.
Yeah, and as we've said, Steve, the last few weeks, I've been out of my comfort zone. We've done biographies, comedy, and last week's strange cat-sick mixture of comedy and biography.
I thank you for that.
And I wanted to come back to my comfort zone of gruffness and extreme violence.
For any lawyers who are listening, Matt doesn't get into extreme violence. Or do you?
Do you know what? The last time we did this, we put a warning on our podcast episode that said this podcast contains scenes of extreme violence. And I think we can find no other reason that didn't get any traffic anywhere. It got much lower listener numbers than this stuff either side. I think we may have been banned from YouTube briefly.
Or maybe people just don't like violence anymore. Maybe the next Reacher novel should have Thora Hird in it or something, and Jack Reacher helps out the church fate or gets into a tangle with the local council or something. Maybe something like that.
Okay, I'm not down with that. Let's have a fight. Here we go.
Reacher could see the guy weighing up his next move. A twitch of his right arm, a shuffle on his left foot. He was slow off the mark, that was for sure. Reacher guessed the guy usually got by through intimidation. But that had already failed. Reacher felt his neck muscles flexing. He was ready to drive his forehead into the guy's face. It would be a brutal move, vicious, devastating. One of his favorites. A kind of Pavlovian response to being confronted by an asshole. But Reacher stopped himself. He remembered the doctor's words. Don't hit your head on anything, it's important. So he decided to play it safe. He watched the guy draw back his right fist. Then he stamped on the guy's front foot. He used all his weight. He felt the little delicate bones beneath the guy's instep crush and shatter. He stepped to the side. The guy screamed and doubled over. Reacher drove his left knee up into his face. For a moment, the guy looked like an acrobat on a balancing pole, hanging in midair. Then he landed on his back. His leg slammed into the ground a moment later. And after that, he didn't move.
You see, I feel much better after that. And again, based on the point that a mate of mine said to me recently, he said something inappropriate. I said to him, "You can't say that to me." And he said, "What are you going to do? Take me outside and miss me vigorously?"
You know, I'm going to use the line. That line, I'm going to use it in conversation with someone. I have a Pavlovian response when confronted with an arsehole. I'm going to use that.
I heard that about you.
Or when faced with an arsehole. That's it. Where's that arsehole? I wouldn't say that.
But again, that's the point. I think most people who read Reacher books are... we don't have a hope in hell of having that level of physical confidence or ability. And yeah, I'm not a violent man, Steve, as you know.
I know.
But there's just something reassuring about the Jack Reacher as as a wandering doer of good, as some sort of samurai, Robin Hood figure going around and beating up bad people. And I think that's one of the things. But I have to say, I think I'm with you. And again, there are things that are different here. They've moved the furniture around. They're trying to make me eat liver on a Wednesday. I'm not sure that Andrew Child has quite reached the mark that Lee Child did. The last time we did one of these books, there was we played a clip, but I just see if you can detect a difference in the quality of the writing.
He turned away and stepped off the roof. He didn't hesitate, just plunged straight off the edge. Then I heard a sound. It was like a wet hand slapping a table in a distant room.
So that is a brilliant piece of writing, and I was listening to this, looking for a clip of that quality, and listening to the book twice, I didn't find anything that was quite that good. Does that make sense, Steve?
It does. So I'm going to coming from the outside here. I'm going to ask you a few questions about this transition from Lee Child to Andrew Child. Then, so this has been going on for a few books now, hasn't it? And how are you finding? What differences are you seeing? And is it just this book you're starting to sort of feel that it's not quite as good?
I've been patient, Steve, and I think the first book, it was certainly advertised that the transition wasn't as quick as it was meant to be. The idea was Lee Child handed over to Andrew Child, and it was instant. And I think actually, if you read the press around it at the time, a couple of years ago, Andrew Child found it harder to write the books than it looked from the outside, even though he, is his brother's brother.
Do we know how it's working? How actually does this work? This transition work? Does Lee write half the book and Andrew the second half? How does it work? Has there been any interviews or anything like that?
We don't honestly know. And again, I think it's something that the publishing company are going, don't look over there, look over here, we've got a shiny thing. So it's being somewhat spun. I don't know. The interesting thing for me is that the whole idea of America is very, very important to this book. So the one interview I did read with Lee Child was him sitting there in his writer's room in his apartment overlooking Central Park in New York. And the idea that this most American of Americans is actually written by a British person who went to the University of Sheffield and wrote for Granada Television for nigh on 20 years. There's a bit of irony in there. There's also the thing where you would think, particularly in these troubled times, that Jack Reacher is the embodiment of American masculinity. But it's strange how in the books there are genuinely strong female characters. There are some LGBTQT plus references, and also not necessarily a fondness for the gun and violence. So there's the bit that we always refer to as sneaking on the vegetables. There are positive social messages wrapped up in this. This book was different. What normally happens is you find Jack Reacher thumbing a lift at the side of a road and ending up in either Miami or the town closest to the Canadian border, or in New York City. And there is a genuine love for the American country and the different parts of it and how diverse and different it can be. The interesting thing is this one, the main character wakes up and has amnesia. I think you said you found it difficult to place.
I mean, I had the same my struggle with the book and also with the Sentinel as well, is that I realised I was on chapter 9. And I realised I didn't know what the book was about, where it was set, what was happening, and it felt like a long list of things that happened. So it was like Reacher got out of the car, and then Reacher reached for his gun, and then this happened, and then that happened, and it just felt like a long list. Now this is my fault, because as I walked past W.H. Smith on Tuesday night, it's #1 bestseller. So I'm in the wrong here, and I don't know why I'm not getting into it. I don't know. I'm needing that penny dropping moment. So I'm not the sort of person to just dismiss it out of hand. I want to know why this is not doing it for me. Why am I not tuning in?
Did you walk past W.H. Smith before or after we met for a beer on Tuesday night?
This was after.
Okay.
And then from that point, as soon as I saw it was #1, I thought, I better listen to some more of this.
Well, I'm sorry to have put you through that. When we had our beer, you said to me, I don't even know where it's set.
Yeah, I had no idea.
And to be honest, at that time, neither did I. It was only on the second listen that I picked up. And it's not mentioned by the main character or in the narrative. I found out through the mouths of reported speech of secondary characters that it's in the Ozark.
Right. Oh, okay.
And if you've seen Ozark on Netflix, but again, there's no love for the country there, is there? And there's no description, there's no context, because it doesn't describe it. Now, there are two reasons that this could have happened. And one of them is the whole idea that it's an amnesia book. So maybe you're feeling as disorientated as the main character is. Maybe that's being, you're not meant to know where you are because he doesn't.
Right. Oh, yeah.
The other one is, if I take on something like this, well, not like this, but if ever I'm told and asked to produce a piece of work, and I always ask, what's the #1 rule? What's the one thing we can't do? And whatever it is, I will say, okay, let's see if I can break that one. When I worked for Radio Silverstone, as you know, we had the editor of Autosport on, who was quite a big mucker at the time. After my first show, they said, "Okay, all very good, but can you not play any of that hippity hop music?"
Nursery rhymes.
I managed to contrive it so that my guest, who was an important man and a mover and a shaker, picked Run DMC versus Aerosmith, Walk This Way, in a 1986 special. So it could be argued that maybe what Andrew Grant / Child has done here is he's gone, you know, that rule about the love of America, I'm going to break that one. But I think it might just not be as good, Steve. And then it might need number one in the charts because it has ridden the back of 28 other novels and numerous short stories being number one sellers around the world.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't make a judgment call on that because I haven't read any of them, really. But yeah,
I've read all of them. You've read all of them, and as you know, we always put a clue in the script at the beginning as to what we actually think, and it may be that Andrew Child's not as good. It may be that the impact is not there. The surprise of Jack Reacher as he was new. It may be my fault that I am perhaps a little too familiar with the series and it's time for me to move on. But I just get the feeling that it might not be quite as good.
Do you think, and you want this to be good, don't you? You want the series to continue. Yeah, you want it to be good. And so...
Oh, God, yeah.
So you're on Andrew Child's side, aren't you? Really, you want him to basically just pick up the mantle and live for every book to be like the previous 25 or so before he came on board and what have you. Because at some point, Lee Child's going to step away and it'll be him on his own, and you want him to basically carry on in that same vein, don't you? You're not against, you don't want the franchise, for want of a better word, to die off. Because he's writing it, do you?
No, not at all. And there's still good stuff in there. And I think we need to talk about the narration and the performance because you're almost saying it's like somebody reading out a list. Let's bathe in some of the good writing. This is him describing the girl behind the desk at the motel he's staying in.
A woman came through. She was maybe 5 feet tall. Maybe 25 years old. Her hair had been dyed scarlet some time ago. It had long blonde roots, and it was sticking out at crazy angles like she had recently been electrocuted. Her skin was pale and pockmarked. She was skinny to the point of malnutrition, and she was wearing bleached denim overalls and a plain white t-shirt. One strap was hanging down unfastened, and a badge pinned to the other gave her name as Mary. "Can I help you?" she said. Reacher said, "I hope so." He attempted an engaging smile.
You know exactly where you are there. That is a fantastic description.
Yeah.
With some humour and also a little bit of the character's point of view, which is possibly like the narrator. He's a bit long in the tooth. And yeah, jaded. I mean, the whole idea that, he sees her as a young person with one strap on her dungarees hanging down, and I don't know. That's where the geographical stuff is missing in this book. I think still some of the descriptions are there. There's good writing in them there hills.
Yeah, I really, yeah. There is good writing. There is good writing, and there's really good. There is, like you say, when he's describing people, that's really cool. I'd like to know more about Vidic. That was a character in this book, wasn't it? That's sounding terribly vague about it. I was really trying, mate. Really trying.
No. Do you know what? I agree with you. I don't have a grasp on that character either.
Yeah.
And again, maybe it's just the way we're introduced. But yeah, I don't have as firm a grip on this book as I normally do. But the audio description. How do you feel that Jeff Harding, the narrator, brought anything to the party, Steve?
Jeff Harding's brilliant. I really like him as a narrator.
Be honest. Don't hold back. Come on, don't hold back. I can hear it in your voice, and I'll tell you why you're wrong.
Well, he's the guy who's been reading the list of things out, and I don't know. It feels. I don't know if it's continuity, right? If you're looking for that comfort blanket of a Jack Reacher novel, you want him. Anyone different reading this range now would feel really weird. If you change the author and the performer, then that's a problem. But Jeff Harding introduces that continuity, I think, here, and also I like Jeff Harding because of his back catalogue as well.
Right, you've basically avoided saying anything there, but I can understand the criticism that you may or may not have put in this book's direction on Slimline Gin and Tonic number 3 the other night, which is it does sound like somebody reading a list.
Yeah, it's monotone. It's just all on one level. I couldn't see any light or shade. It felt like this is the reason why I couldn't get into it. I think it just feels like a long account of things that happened, and I couldn't get with it.
Okay, and the writing style, Lee Child deliberately writes short sentences, apparently because this makes it more readable for a wider audience. But the reason I think Jeff Harding's performance is brilliant for exactly the reason you're saying is because he is as imperturbable as Jack Reacher himself. If Jack Reacher is in a fight, or if Jack Reacher is looking off the top of the Empire State Building or eating a hamburger, the level of emotion is the same because he's so calm. And what I'd like to do, having given you that context, is see if you think this description of his shoes makes more sense in that light.
Reacher was wearing his only pair of shoes. He had bought them years earlier in England. They were quality items, expensive, solid and sturdy right out of the box, and the leather had only gotten harder with time and weather and uncompromising use. Now the toe caps were like steel. Reacher turned and kicked Fletcher in the head, partly to make sure Fletcher wouldn't regain consciousness anytime soon, and partly because he was pissed about his wrist and being dragged to this place against his will. And the whole business with the handcuffs.
Do you get it?
I like pissed about his wrist. Love that.
But do you get the whole idea that the tone is deliberately monotone? And the bit where he's describing the shoes which he bought on a trip to England, his only pair of shoes, is delivered with the same level of calmness. Sang-froid, I think is it.
Yeah.
Good. My German accent's not fooling you. But
I come from the LOLO school of learning languages.
Do it loud and slowly. But
good moaning.
I just for me it works, and for me, having gone through 29 of them, it is my chicken on a Wednesday. It is my security blanket, and it just makes me smile. But I can imagine that coming to it fresh, particularly after some of the books that we've read, where I'm thinking Nicola Walker and the new Richard Osman, where there's just proper great acting there and adoption of accents and people playing characters, that actually this is brilliant precisely because somebody we know, and hold on, I've got Jeff Harding's career here, best known for reading the Jack Reacher books, the Da Vinci Code, the Bourne Identity, and he's lived here since the 70s. His film credits include Spies Like Us, Hackers, Alfie, and Tomorrow Never Dies. And you, of course, love him in the Fast Show, don't you?
Yeah, but also, I just realised from what you noted down here, he was Father Ted. He was trying to persuade Ted to come to America and make his life there. He's played some cool characters. And also, I do remember him on Howard's Way as well. So for anyone, and to bring back in our American audience, after we shunned them. So you shunned them. Let's face it. Let's not mince words here, Matt. Howard's Way was essentially the Dallas for England. So obviously much smaller scale, set in Southampton by docks, about boats.
Yeah.
Best character, Jack Rolfe. Where's my bloody boat?
But I think my point here is that. It's not a lack of talent that is making him read in this monotone way. It is very deliberate, and I should imagine quite hard to do. So I like it. I can understand why you might. By the way, Fletcher, who got kicked in the head there, his full name is Darren Fletcher, who's currently. He's currently first team coach at Manchester United.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that means that Andrew Child supports a different football team to Lee Child.
Quite possibly. I'm looking forward to a West Ham fan starting to drop Frank McAvenny in there or something.
Yeah. Well, we'll see who takes over. It may be. From what we've said, as much as I enjoyed watching this, the rhythm of it and letting it float past me, it may be that Andrew Child's time at the helm is limited, and somebody else will be brought in to take over. But as I say, look, I enjoyed it not as much as I enjoyed the early ones. I felt there were things that were missing that may have been deliberate, but it's still a B+ for me.
This is the thing, right? This range has been going on for 25 years now. And like all long-term franchises, there will always be a lull. You will never... you think of the great characters in fiction. Doctor Who, for example, is one. You know, it will always come back again. So it's a case of sort of hanging in there and seeing, and the next one may well be better. By the way, I completely understand. I completely have bought into what you're saying about Jeff Harding now. This wouldn't have been this is a deliberate thing, they wouldn't have hired him to do 29 of these in that style without good reason. And you're completely right. It does fit the written word, definitely. So yeah, 25 years old, this franchise, and still standing. Speaking of which, someone else is still standing next week, aren't they, Matt?
Oh, beautifully done. And that's why they pay you the big bucks and make me sit in the corner.
Well, the big imaginary air type bucks. Yeah. Which means next week is Elton John. It's Elton John week as we look to fill your Christmas stocking with audio trinkets. So if you're looking, as we're coming into the sort of run into Christmas, and you might want to gift someone an audiobook, we're going to be suggesting you some. We've got a best of the year as well coming up, and our best of the guests as well. But next week, it is Farewell Yellow Brick Road, Memories of My Life on Tour by Elton John, David Furnish, and with a cast of not thousands, but certainly ones narrating this one. Comes at 6 hours and 11 minutes. So, and that's actually an Audible production as well. And that came out on the 24th of September. We're going to be reviewing that one next week. So if you've got any thoughts on that book, and indeed on this one, the one we've just been reading, In Too Deep by Jack Reacher, it's book 29 by Lee Child with Andrew Child, narrated as ever by Jeff Harding, 8 hours, 53 minutes. Was released in back end of October by Penguin Audio, and you're recommending it with a B+. I'm going to hop on and jump onto the back of your B+ there, Matt, because really I couldn't make a judgment call, to be honest. If it's good, it's number one, it's fine with me. It just wasn't my bag. So there we go. As ever, we are on Instagram at Audiobook Show. If you want to get in touch with us, let us know what you're reading and what you think we should be reading. Give us your thoughts on that. And of course, on In Too Deep and Farewell Yellow Brick Road, which we're doing next week. So it's Audiobook Show on Instagram. And it's also the same on Blue Sky as well, or audiobookshow.bsky.social if you want to get the full term. If you're on Blue Sky, we're hanging out there as well. We always sort of post clips of the books we're talking about, so do find us there. And you can listen to all of our episodes on Audiobook Club, all 40 so far, at audiobookclub.net too.
Audiobook Club with Steve Phillips and Matthew Layton.